This is a John Deere T560 combine harvester, and it's also called a hill master as well, where the combine is self-leveling to go across hills and slopes. This is sitting around about in the middle of the range of combines that we offer. We offer some smaller combines that don't have the same separation system as this has got. And then we also offer some much larger combines for large-scale arable farmers that are called rotary combines, and they have a very large output and can harvest over 100 acres a day. The combine itself will be around about 3.5 metres wide, and the grain tank size would hold about 8 tonnes of wheat or any other crop that you decide to harvest. And then the combine empty would probably weigh close to 10 tonnes, so probably be looking nearly 20 tonnes full, which it's a fair weight going across the field. The header on this combine is a 22-foot cut, so we're taking just over 6 metres at a time. And the fuel tank is roughly around about 800 to 900 litres, so hopefully it's enough for a good working day. This is a John Deere PowerTech engine, and it's a 6.8 litre turbocharged diesel engine, which is 6,800 cc. And the combine only uses diesel fuel only, and it produces around about 350 horsepower. It has a top speed of 20 miles an hour for going down the road. This transmission that we've got on the combine, it allows a fuel-saving mode to drop the engine revs right down, so that it's again saving the farmer money when he's transporting the combine along the road. The machine itself, the concept of the internal workings of the machine is probably around about 10 years old now, but a couple of years ago they updated the cab, but the main differences with the combine would be software on the main computers, and also the screen where all the controls and the settings are made from the operator. First thing I do is I go and open the back steps up on the combine. I then go up to the engine bay. Then I check my hydraulic oil levels to make sure I've got enough oil to run all the hydraulic pumps and the header controls. After then, I would then go to my engine air filter. And I clean the air filter out to make sure there's no dust and debris, and that the engine can get as much air into it as possible for the horsepower requirement. Then I'm pretty much ready to go combining. Get into the cab. I'd have a check of the windows and just see if my vision is fine. And if not, I would spend about 5 or 10 minutes just cleaning the windows, because they do get very dusty every day. And also do a visual walk around just to make sure that the combine looks fine and there's no pieces of metal hanging off of it or anything that's been broken. I would start the combine up first, and then depending on the crop that I'm going into, for instance, this field of winter wheat, I can change the settings from the driver's seat in the cab. And I can say if I'm going on another demonstration, I could switch it to oilseed rape, for instance, from the seat of the cab without actually having to get out and change anything myself. It's all electronically controlled from the buttons in the cab. You can combine a vast number of crops, anything from European crops such as winter wheat and barley, and oilseed rape, through to legumes such as beans for human consumption, and then also onto soya beans for chicken feed as well. There's a very long list of crops that you can harvest and that have settings in the cab for the combine. There's a main settings page on the screen, and you go into the main settings, and there's a long list of all the combine crops that you can choose from. Select the appropriate crop for the crop you have in front of you, and then that installs some factory settings for the combine. So it will change all the separation systems for clearances, and also sieve settings, because some seeds are smaller than others, and it will either close sieves to make it smaller to let the seeds through, or make it bigger to allow the bigger seeds to come through. So when I'm happy with the combine and I've put in the right crop, I would then start combining, and after a few meters I would create a theoretical line across the field, what we call an A and B line, and that is a point where I mark a theoretical flag on the screen. I then drive 15 meters. It then sets a B point, which creates another theoretical flag in the field, and after that it creates a theoretical line all the way around the globe for as long as possible. So in theory I could combine in a straight line across the world if there was a crop in front of me. It helps the efficiency of the combine because it maintains a full header width across the field. It reduces a lot of overlap in the field. An overlap is where we're using the header wider than the crop, so we're not taking a full header width. That's what contributes to more fuel use, because you're obviously taking a longer time to cut a shorter width of crop. So it just helps to keep a full width, and you can also finish the fields a lot quicker and a lot more efficiently. And it also saves a lot of operator fatigue as well across the day, because some operators are working 12 to 16 hours a day in the combine cabs, and they get very, very tired just driving up and down the field. So hopefully it takes a lot of fatigue off the operators. Combines have come a long way over the last sort of 50 years. But combines now, you've got air conditioning in the cabs, you've got radio with USB music controls and iPod input. You could sit a day in a combine very, very comfortably and be cool and relaxed and just go about your sort of daily work in a nice way. The yellow dome that you'll see on the roof picks up what we call the GLONASS satellites, which is a Russian-based satellite that sits more in the northern hemisphere, and it also picks up the American GPS satellites. The satellite picks up the position of the combine. The satellites then relay that data to a tracking place that's located on the Earth. A correction signal is then sent from the tracking building to back up to the satellites, and then the satellite then relays that back down to the combine, and the combine is then able to correct itself and steer in a straight line. There is talk of driverless combines coming. The combines can drive themselves as such, with the operator just sitting there, and that would then work on the losses that you set up in the combine, what your acceptable losses coming out of the cab, and the combine can then adjust its speed to help with those losses and get every bit of grain in the tank that the farmer wants to harvest. The combine takes a sample out of the grain tank up to sort of 4 to 5 times a minute, and it just records the weight of the grain that it's taken into the sample, and then it brings it up on the screen either as an instant or as an average across the field. So the farmer has a good idea of where there's bad areas of the field which haven't yielded particularly well, or there's areas that have yielded very, very well. And what the farmer can then do is take that data, and he can then analyse his fertiliser inputs, and he can then change it across the field as he's driving along with the fertiliser applicator. The combine has what we call remote display access. and that helps our service department out greatly. But instead of one of our service technicians going out onto farm, the staff in the office could speak to the operator on the phone and actually see what the operator sees on his screen in the cab without actually physically being there. This field has been chopped, so all the straw that isn't wanted by the farmer is then chopped up into very small pieces and is then left on the surface to be able to be incorporated by the cultivations and the ploughs, and also it brings fertiliser as well because of the breaking down of the crop residue back into the ground.